Welcome to Tyrompers No Limit Podcast.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome to Tyrompers No Limit Podcast, episode like 38, 39, 40, somewhere around there. We're not sure, but we are fired up as ever, boys and girls, because today we got the man, the myth, the legend. I freaking love this guy. He's the ultimate hype man, high energy guy. I've had so many people in my DMs tell me, dude, I think this guy, Nate, can match your energy, Tyler. He's the most motivating guy I've ever seen. This is the ultimate hype man, positive energy, and good vibes man right here. This is a man that's a leader, a great high energy dad, the alleged world record holder for throwing his kids up in the air as high as humanly possible and still catching them. This is a man that has faith to move mountains and inspires me daily. A man that I've had several people on Twitter say is one of the only people that can match my enthusiasm and zest for life. Welcome to the pod, my brother, my friend. I love this guy, Mr. Nate Norman. How you doing today, bro?
Bro, fantastic. And if I could ever match your energy, it will be a great achievement in my life, for sure.
Dude, you put it out every week, man. I look so forward to Wednesdays, and I've actually started putting my hardest training day on Wednesdays because I get up, I do my morning routine, bro, and then I look, and you always have the midweek motivator. You got this minute clip on Twitter every week that just fires me up so much, man. So welcome to the pod. Thanks for coming on, man. And maybe for anybody who doesn't know you, can you kind of share a little bit of your story, Nate? Just a few minute intro, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I got on Twitter in 2013. You know, if I'd have stayed active since 2013, I'd have had who knows what I'd have had on Twitter. But I was just lurking and just hanging out. And then I started discovering what was possible with Twitter. And it actually had a huge impact on my life, you know, through the church and through what I was already doing. I realized that there was more opportunity and there was a whole new realm of what I could express and what I could do to help people. And it opened up just this vast new window of greatness, man. It's been fantastic. And I'm a father of three, and I'm an electrician here in South Carolina. Work for the power company out there in the steamy, balmy South Carolina heat. And hopefully one day we'll see what happens and what God's got in store for me down the road.
And that's awesome, brother. And yeah, you're just one of the most positive guys I've ever met. Did you grow up in South Carolina then, or how long you been married, Nate?
I did. I grew up here in South Carolina, and I met my wife before I went to California. And I told her, I'm never coming back, and just do what you got to do. And I ended up actually coming back and marrying her. And she was a high school sweetheart, and so
that's awesome.
Never thought I would ever come back to South Carolina and say this is going to be home. But here I am, and it's home.
Yeah, it's awesome, brother. So you grew up in South Carolina, good childhood. You have brothers and sisters, or what's your childhood like there, man?
Yeah, I'm one of 8. So
wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, a big clan of Normans out there, and I never wanted to get that many kids. And now as I'm older and have kids, I'm like, man, maybe a couple more wouldn't be that bad of an idea, right?
You just have a bigger tribe, man. It is fun. We got kind of addicted in the foster care system to just saying yes, man. We just had so many kids in and out of here, but dude, it's fun. Kids keep you young, man. That's the thing I realize. And how old are your kids now, Nate?
I've got an 11-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 7-year-old. And
it's awesome.
We might adopt down the road. I'm not sure what God has in store. I'm definitely open to the idea. And my wife has also been, just pondering that recently, and it's come to the table a lot more recently. And, if God's got it for us, let's go. We'll do it,
Man, that's awesome, brother. That's one thing I think right away, man, I was drawn to your energy on Twitter, and you're just a guy that I just freaking love following. Anybody, I'm going to link everything Nate down does below, but you got to follow this man. He's the most high energy, just positive vibes guy out there. So have you always kind of had this spirit, man, or is this something you developed, or, you have a big faith that you talk about really boldly too? Has that always been a big guiding force in your life, or can you kind of talk about those things a little bit?
Yeah. when I was coming up, I was just, I wanted to have a good time, and I kind of channeled it into, I want to be the life of the party, and just a big fist bump to everybody I meet, but I didn't know it had a bigger purpose. And it wasn't until that I met Christ and started developing my relationship with Christ that I realized my wiring and my calling were supposed to sync up. And when that happened, the cogs kind of clicked in, and I realized that my purpose was bigger than just me being the life of a party or me being energetic, that my God-given wiring was destined for something, for him to be glorified and for him to be lifted up. And so that kind of changed how I operated in the world. It wasn't for parties that I was upbeat, right? It couldn't have been. It had to be something bigger than me just going to a party and be like, Nate was there and it was awesome,
Man, I can resonate with that so much. And, she's called my second mom. Shout out to Deb Knowles. If Deb Knowles watches this. In high school, she was kind of my second mom. I'd stay there a lot. And I remember when I kind of came to Christ when I was 34, 35 and started talking a little more openly, she gave me a hug one time when she saw me and she's like, I'm so glad you're going to be motivating people to come to church instead of to do more shots at bars and things like that. So
Right.
it took me a little longer to get there. How old were you when you kind of discovered that and faith came kind of the center of your life, Nate?
Well, I grew up in the church, and being here in the South, it's kind of a prerequisite. You just go to church; it's what you do. And so I would say that my faith wasn't really owned. I just did it. I participated. I was a youth group kid. DC Talk and all that back in the day. And so I left Columbia, went to California, and probably wasn't as saved as I thought I was. I thought I was going to go to heaven on my parents' coattails, or because I went to church regularly. And I started getting in trouble in California. And I ended up at this college. I had these illustrious plans, play ball and, go do something amazing in California. And none of it panned out. And I ended up at this college. And I was getting in trouble at this college, man. And they put me on community service at college. And I'm out here. You know about this. They had this desert dirt. I was in the high desert near Joshua Tree, California.
Oh yeah. We've been there, man. It's an awesome place.
Beautiful. And I was getting the weeds out of this desert dirt. They don't want grass. They don't want clean, pristine cut lawns. They want raked desert dirt with like Aztec symbols in it and rocks and cactuses in it. It's very weird. So I'm using this thing called a hula hoe, and I'm like scraping these weeds, and they're just not giving, bro. And I'm so mad. I'm not mad at my mom or my dad or the church or the college. I'm mad at this dirt for being so stinking hard, bro. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, why can't you just yield and just be softer, And dude, a verse, I wasn't big on scripture memorization at the time, but it was like I had memorized it. It just was like right there. It was Hosea 10:12, and it said, sow for yourselves in righteousness, and the Lord will rain down upon you. Break up the fallow ground of your heart. And I was like, man, maybe that's what my pastors and my parents and my coaches and leaders in my life had been trying to do with me up until that point. So I kind of made that pact with God where I'm like, okay, all right, big guy, I'll do it your way,
So that was kind of the softening of the heart and kind of the transformation of, hey, this is going to be the center of my life type thing. So you had dated your wife, it sounds like, in high school, right? And what sports did you play growing up, Nate? What did you go to college to play?
I was going to try for baseball, man. I had played baseball all coming up, and there was an offer here in Columbia, to go to Charleston and play or something like that. And I'm like, no, I want to go big time. And it just didn't pan out. I just never did anything with it. And, it wasn't in God's plans. And I always often look back and say, I wonder what if, but I would have never came back and had the kids that I have now or had the ministries that I have now. And, big picture, you look back and you're like, God was guiding every step of the way, dude. Every step. I'm so grateful, bro. He's just been very good to me, man.
That's amazing, man. I love to hear that. So then when you're in California and you realize, hey, it's not panning out, were you still talking to your wife at the time? Were you guys still boyfriend, girlfriend? Or how did that work out where you came back and got together, got married?
So check this out, Tyler. I had a phone card with like 500 minutes on. You remember phone cards?
I remember that way back in the day. We're going to date ours. We're going to have a 21-year-old kid watching this. Like, what in the world are they talking about, man? There used to be a thing called phone cards, guys.
Right. So I had to punch the numbers in on the phone and it would charge it to whoever I called. It was, or on the card. It was fantastic. So that's how we stayed in contact for the first part of California. Then she actually sent me a flip phone, old school. Text your numbers out and dude, it was crazy. So we stayed in contact, and the more and more time went by in California, I think it was a Thanksgiving I came back and I realized that my heart had shifted, and probably due to the softening of the soil and my encounter with Christ, and things just begin to align with more purpose and make more sense. It wasn't supposed to be just off running, doing your own thing. There was a purpose to life, and there was something I was supposed to do. Even with marriage, there was somebody I was supposed to marry. And thank God I did, because I might have ended up, I don't know. I don't know where I'd have ended up.
Bro, my wife says at least once a week when I'm doing something crazy, she's like, hey, what would you be doing if I wasn't here to rein you in? You probably end up in prison. Who knows, man? It's like, I think both of us can kind of, is life of the party kind of guys. But I really resonate with what you said of, you know what, one of the lowest points in my life, what I don't think anybody would know, was when I went to Chicago in my late 20s. And dude, I partied just, you know, I was the guy on the top of the table, shots, you know, like that kind of guy for a couple of years. But, you know, when the party ended, I was pretty miserable, to be honest. And, you know, it was always kind of that thing, well, when's the next party? When can I get to the next thing? Because I just had this deep hole kind of in my soul, I think. And kind of what you alluded to, it kind of hit me, man. I got chills when you said that verse of, it really took me kind of saying, hey, God, these gifts you give me, I'm not going to use them selfishly anymore. I'm going to try and use them for your kingdom. And that's when my whole life shifted. And to hear you say that is pretty amazing, man. And then you start to get this purpose that's bigger than you for the first time in your life. And then when you wake up, life, it's like people ask, like, how can you be so excited to just wake up and like go to the bank when I was working? Well, dude, I got a bigger mission. I could run into somebody there who needs me on fire, you know, like, so I really always resonate with what you say around that, man. And, you know, can you talk about then, I guess, how you got into your work now and kind of your day-to-day routine and what that looks like and how you kind of pour into people every day?
Yeah, man. So I came back to Columbia and I just started working whatever I could, you know, slinging sheetrock or landscaping or, you know, always very physical jobs. And, you know, I joked with God. I'm like, you gave me you built me for toting wood and cutting lumber, but you didn't give me the other side. You know, I need some brains to go with it. No, I kid. He's blessed me with it. But always a physical job. So, you know, my day starts at 4 a.m. and I'll get up and try to get into the word a little bit. And I'll start with some box breathing. Recently, I've been doing some box breathing early in the morning and try to just center my thoughts. And I'll say a few prayers right there and just kind of open my mind up to the Lord. Just say, all right, Lord, you know, let's start this day. And something that you mentioned early on was the gratitude journal. And I've recently been trying to use those minutes before I leave for the day to just be thankful, to thank the Lord for his goodness, man. There's a book that I read. It's called Praying Through the Tabernacle by John Corson. It's phenomenal. But he says, like, sometimes we always come to God and we're just like, you know, dude, I'm in a problem. I need help. You know, can you help me with this test? Can you get me this job? I need more money, you know, whatever. And this book really centered on enters gates with thanksgiving, enters courts with praise. And starting that day saying, all right, God, I'm just thankful. You know, I'm thankful for my family. I think that I have air conditioning in my house. You know, there's people sleeping outside in this heat. God bless them. You know what I mean? Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. The blessings are everywhere, man. They really are.
Dude. And that's been a huge hack just to implement that part from you with that gratitude journal, man. That's been huge. And I'll go to work in the heat, man. And a big joke, you know, I've told you this before. I'll get in the Porta-John and crank out a couple banger tweets, you know, and the guys are like, are you done? I'm like, I got 20 characters left. Give me a minute, you know?
I remember those days at the bank, man. I actually got pulled aside one time by a supervisor, like, why do you go to the bathroom so much? Do you have a problem? And I was like, well, one, I'm always drinking all this water, so I do have to go pee every 40 minutes. But two, I'm responding to tweets, man. I'm building a business over here. You know, I don't really want
I'm trying to nail some stuff down. Cut me some slack.
Right, man. That's awesome. So when did you start your Twitter journey officially then, Nate? How long have you been posting a lot? And you've had some really good growth, man. I've loved seeing you gain an audience and gain some traction and gain a tribe over there, man.
Yeah, I'd say December, November of this past year, I stopped lurking and you know, just start engaging in a way that would benefit, you know. And guys like us, I think, Tyler, we've done this through church or through relationships, guys we've gone out to lunch with or gone out to coffee with, and to turn digital and take some of those same discipleship principles and say, I want to help somebody who can overcome an issue that we often take for granted. Like, I just take it for granted that God's given me an ability to do some of these things and to be this certain way. And there's honestly people who are looking at it like, how do I get there? Or what are the first steps? Or what do I need to overcome? And I take it for granted. And if God can use this in a way that helps people, man, it'd be great. But, you know, came across your account early on in my journey. And I was like, dude, this is awesome.
Right? We vibe right away, man.
Yeah. And I was like, it just opened this door of what was possible. And it's so cool. I was like, I just didn't know that there was stuff like this out there. You know, I'm looking at CNN, dude. I'm looking at news channels. I'm looking at politics crap. And I think you might have said it, go through and just start deleting, right? The CNNs, the news channels, this superfluous stuff that you follow. And my Twitter experience changed 1000%, bro. You know, I was just following junk and garbage. No wonder I was just lurking. And so when I started seeing these accounts that were actually benefiting society and mankind, bro, I'm like, this is great, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty wild, man. It's, a couple points there to talk on is I think number one, the big thing that you mentioned too, is that some of the conversations that we're just having, hey, when we go out to dinner with a buddy or lunch with a buddy, or just, last night I was walking and talking with a few guys, just we walked 9 miles up and down the strip and just chatted life, that'll turn into a bunch of tweets for me, and so people will ask all the time. I've tweeted 82,000 times now in like 29 months. And they're like, how do you come up with content? And I don't really come up with content, man. I'm going to tweet on the things I'm reading about. I'm going to tweet on the conversations we might have. We're just going to tweet on life, right? And that's what you do. And I love that about your Twitter. Dude, you're just sharing your life. You're sharing your journey. And then what other people, like you said, we might take something for granted, but everybody can learn from somebody. And just because, I might be here on my journey, hey, Zach Hommel's up here and I can learn from him. And Zach might think the things he's telling me are very arbitrary. Well, of course you would do that, bro. But I'm not to that level yet. So he can help me level up. And so wherever you're at on that journey, just sharing where you're at can help somebody and where you're getting to. And I think when we use social media that way to lift each other up, encourage each other, create community of where everybody wants everybody to win, that's when it gets really good, man. And that's, you see people just doing these amazing things that they wouldn't do without that supportive community.
Dude, you're so good at that, man. Your whole Twitter, it exemplifies that. And that's where I kind of picked a lot of that up from. And being authentic, and I think you might have said that early on, it's just being authentic self. And dude, you're fantastic at that, man. You guys that have been doing this for a while are really setting a great example for guys like me who are coming behind and saying, all right, what are people on this platform doing to benefit? What are people on this platform doing to help others win? You guys are really forging a great road. Dude, I'm tracking, bro. Keep it up, man.
Brother, we're learning from, that's the cool thing though, is I'll see something you put out, that midweek motivator, it fires me up. And then I can even use that in a call with somebody or other things, and it's just, we all get better together. That's the cool thing. And, 29 months ago, before I ever hopped on, it was guys like Ryan Stevens and Zach Hommel and Dan Go and all these guys that I was learning from for a few months before I started posting. And I kind of got that same vibe. Hey, these guys are just themselves, but they're trying to actively help people. And dude, it's, I never knew the mission field that Twitter could be, but I've prayed with probably 1,000 guys off of Twitter now, man. Like literally in my DMs, just hopped on a quick call, prayed with people over and over again and things like that. And it's, to me, it's more, what's the purpose of your Twitter? It's a mission field, man. That's for me what it is,
100%, dude. That's been a staple. Like if we hop on a call, we're gonna try to pray. We're gonna try to pray at the end. And there's been a couple times where I'm like, I don't know if I should pray right now. I don't know, but I always do it, and it always works out great, and it's fantastic. But I felt like that should be a staple of when I interact with people. And honestly, dude, like the people that have come from off-platform conversations, man, that's a blessing in itself, dude. Like it's just so beneficial to actually meet somebody and talk with them, hear their struggle, or for me to get my struggle off my chest, and for us just to connect as bros or family or whatever we can connect on. And it just makes it so much better to have that offline connection. Here's my plug to call a stranger from the internet.
Yeah. I was always warned growing up, man, like don't talk to strangers on the internet. And now I'm hosting retreats where just like 7 random dudes are showing up at this house. Like we're going to go hiking out in the middle of nowhere or whatever. But yeah, I do think it's a lesson for anybody out there. And another point you made that I want to really touch upon is anybody listening to this, curate your feed. Man, I was the CNN, Fox News, listening to, whether it was Tucker Carlson or Anderson Cooper coming on every night and complaining about everything that goes on in the world. And it's all these people's fault, and that all that garbage is in your mind. You can't do anything about it. So, if you want to change the world, you change yourself. And how do you do that? You change your inputs, and you start to surround yourself with that community, man. And so when you started seeking that and you say, hey, this is bettering my life a lot, can you talk about maybe some of those changes, how that's actually affect your day-to-day life?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. You don't know that you're absorbing this content, through the sad music or the movies that you watch or the news that you intake. You just don't know you're absorbing it all. And I don't know if it's osmosis or what the actual scientific word is, but it's just around you, and it permeates your mind, and it permeates your atmospheres, and it permeates your conversation and your dinner table and everything. And it's no other way to say it except just garbage. Mm-hmm. So putting in the content that I want back out from Twitter has been great. And some of those principles have shown up in real life. Reading is one of them. There's a lot of guys that I follow on here that are big on reading. And I say, I'm the type of guy, dude, I'll pick up a book and I'll set it down for 6 months and never touch it again. You know,
You're the same, man.
Find a bookmark from 10 years ago where I started something. And I said, I need to be more intentional with my reading. And then there's other tweets that I'll see where guys are like, hey, put your phone down. You don't need to be on your phone all the time. And dude, I'm trying to grow a business, or I'm trying to work Twitter. And that has been a struggle. So I'm taking advice from guys who have gone down this road and said, you need to carve out time. And I think I was listening to, again, I reference you a lot, but you said at 12 o'clock at a certain day, you're setting down your phone. And it might've been with the Moore brothers that you were talking about this. And you set down your phone and you're having the rest of the day open. Dude, I'm taking that principle. I'm saying that's a good principle. I need that, and stuff like that has really helped me. Jack Colson recently has been a huge help with just not having to be perfect in your production. Just go. I think he said he bought a product from somebody who's pretty big right now early on, and it was like a Word document or something. He bought like an ebook and it was a Word document. He's like, dude, just go, just send it out there and shoot your content and see what happens. All those principles have leveled me up times and times again.
That's so awesome, man. And you're a guy who I think you've never been really afraid to put yourself out there. And I think that's why you've seen some really good growth on Twitter. And it's so like, dude, you're at that point where you're about to explode too. Because when you start to get to a few thousand and even more, it's like a tipping point to just really catapulting. And I'm really excited for you to build your own tribe and your own, are you doing any coaching now, Nate, or what's kind of the future around that, man?
Yeah, all the coaching that's happened has been phenomenal. Again, it's been these off-platform connections and kind of discipleship geared. And somebody will just randomly hit me up. I don't even, just randomly, or text me and say, a friend of a friend of a friend gave me your number and here's what I'm trying to do. I want to lose some weight, or I want to increase my, I just want to be more positive. I just feel like I'm drifting through life, man, or I have no energy. And right now, dude, I'm just, come on. Let's just hang out. Let's just get something going. And where God takes it, I'm not entirely sure, but it's been so great to connect with some of these guys. And bro, when you see the cogs click in for somebody, dude, it's the best, bro. I had a dude text me today and he said, I've lost 22 pounds since April. And I was like,
Man.
Bro, that's yes, let's go. I want to jump through the phone and fist bump him and just hug him, dude. I'm so excited, and I take that for granted sometimes with me. Like I might fluctuate weight here and there and change my body how I want to and do more activity or less activity. I take for granted that that's a big milestone. And I was so excited for this, bro. When you see that in somebody's life, it just fires me up more. Let's go more, let me help.
Yeah, I can just feel the passion coming out of you. And I feel the same way. There's no better feeling in life. I think God designed life this way, that if you want to actually feel good yourself, you go help other people, And so, and when you see the wheels turning and then you think, okay, he's down 22 pounds, that's changed not only his life, probably his family's life, probably his children's life, legacies are changed. And you think about that ripple effect, then who can he help? Can he go help a couple people lose weight now that he has the knowledge and the tools? And to me, that's the greatest thing about life, man, is on Twitter or wherever that in real life, you help somebody and then your hope is they go help somebody and they go help somebody. And that's truly how we change the world. It's, it's not by going in, oh, can we elect the next president that's going to save us, man? It literally has to start in our hearts, in our minds, and then in our homes. And then we just branch out. And I see you doing that every day, man. And that's so awesome. If people want to get in touch with you, Nate, what should they do? Just DM you on Twitter or?
Yeah, shoot me a DM. I'm working to get some links up and some products up, and my systems is what they call it. And dude, you're talking to a dinosaur, okay? I'm a Southern hillbilly dinosaur who's like chicken pecking the keys, stuff. And I'm trying to go digital, and I'm like, just bear with me. I don't know, shoot me an email or write me a letter in the actual mailbox,
I love it, man. We're so similar, man, because honestly, dude, like there's not a day that goes by at this point now where I've grown on social where I have all these people telling me, dude, let me create this funnel for you. And let me create and I just like, I don't know, man, the big part of me, like people ask me, what's the key to Twitter or your business or doing well or whatever. And I'm like, dude, I wake up every day and I pray and I say, hey, God, wherever you want this to go, you take it. And I'm okay with it, and I've never really put much stock into, well, I need to make this much money or have this many people or do that. And God has always put the right people in my inbox at the right time. And I feel like, I don't know, there's something to that, man. When you just want to show up and help people, God has a tendency of putting the right people in your path, man. And so it's not going to shock me, like a year down the road to see how many people he's put in your path that you've helped. And that's going to be an amazing thing, man.
Dude, that's 100%, dude. I mean, we're gonna say, hey, help me and decide who to marry, right? Help me with this job, get me this job, or Lord, should I have kids, right? How many should I have? You're gonna include him in every element of your life. Why not this platform as well? And so when the mission is incorporated into the mundane, it rolls differently, right? When we add God into what we grind out, I don't know, it just moves differently. It's a purpose. It's not me getting on there and shooting something random and saying, the world's terrible, the presidents are awful, whatever. It's not about that. It's a mission,
Yeah, I love that, man. Yeah, and so tell me a little bit, because anybody who hasn't followed Nate, please do it and just log on Wednesday mornings, man. It is what was the genesis behind the midweek motivator? I mean, to be honest, every Wednesday now, like we have a group that me and Nate talk to off platform. Everybody gets fired up about it. It's like the favorite part of the week, man. And like, I have guys come, Jose Rosado, who's got, hundreds of thousands of followers across social, comes in my inbox and says, dude, you got to check this guy out. Nate, he's got so much energy, like all these bigger accounts. I feel like it's a way that you've really kind of branded yourself and made a name for yourself there. What was the genesis behind that? And what's kind of your process behind that, if you don't mind sharing?
All right. Number one, it's super anticlimactic. And it's because Wednesdays were my worst day. It's my longest day. I'm up from 4 a.m. and I get home at 10 p.m. at night. It's just a long day and hard. And when I started seeing some of these accounts on Twitter who looked professional, I mean, you guys look like it just was systematic and professional and very organized. Whether they were using Tweet Hunter or Hype Theory, or it just looked very organized. Everybody had like a plan or a niche that they were kind of working towards. And I'm like, I don't have anything. So I said, let me take the hardest day that I have and try to send out what I want on this day. I want to be uplifted on a Wednesday. I want to be motivated on a Wednesday. I want to get myself going on a Wednesday. And again, using a God-given gifting to benefit what I'm doing in the world. So it was me first, bro. Very anticlimactic. It was me. It's something I needed. I needed to get this for this day and go. And it's been a blessing, man. It's actually like these little mini sermons from myself.
That's how I feel too.
like this week, bro, I got 1,000 things that I'm trying to work through and trying to nail down. And my process, I don't know how you are, Tyler, but I look at it, I'm like, man, I gotta just attack. Let me just go into go mode, get some coffee, and attack these things. But the end result of that binge is a crash. And this past week, it was just one stone at a time. Let me dial back. Don't look at the mountain right now. Don't try to move big boulders. Pick up a stone in front of you, and then the next one, and then the next one. And you know this just as well as I do, is that over the course of 1,000 yeses in the same direction, you have moved 1,000 stones. And so very selfishly, I have to admit, it's for me, and they are helping me. And if they help somebody else, awesome.
I always say about 70% of my tweets are to myself, man. Like it's reminders to myself, or it's things that I used to struggle with and now I feel like I've done a little better at, or things I'm currently struggling with and I want to do better with. Like a lot of my tweets are to myself, and a lot of those videos, man, what you alluded to is so funny, because I was just talking to a buddy about this, how I had a morning about a week ago or 2 weeks ago where I must have slept 2 hours, man. We had a kid up, sick kid. It was one of those days, right? And the alarm goes off at 5:30. And of course, the first thing you think is like, let's snooze that we're this day, but nah, you got to fight that back. And so I did it. And I think it's selfish too. But when I was walking in the gym at like 5:45, I said, I'm going to go make somebody's day real quick. I'm going to be really high energy to them. So I just found this guy that I'd seen in there for about a year straight. He's 65. And I've seen this guy lose 30 pounds over the last year. And I went up to him and I said, hey, brother, I just want to tell you, you inspire me. I see you in here getting after it, man. And I poured some life into him, dude. He ends up giving me the biggest hug, shares his story, asks me about my kids. Dude, I see him in the gym every day now. We fist bump. Let's get after it. And but he gave me back life, And so I love what you did there to take your hardest day and say, hey, I'm going to pour into myself and others. And then that's going to fill you back up, man. And that's such a cheat code to life, man, for anybody who's thinking about, I'm kind of struggling. Okay, go pour into other people, man. And that'll give you energy.
Apply this principle across every realm of your life. Marriage, for example, what you want into marriage, you probably need to start giving. Do you want more hugs? Give more hugs, right? Do you want more attraction? Give more attraction, right? Take it to church. Do you want to be greeted more at church or to be liked more at church? Go like somebody at church. Go greet somebody at church. And then across at work, do you want more input in work? Do you want more positivity at work? Go give that away. And the upside down principle, right? Give it away. Give what you want, dude. And if people started putting this in their mind's eye and saying, what can I do to give out what it is I actually need? It would change every parameter of their world. I guarantee you, 100% money back guaranteed right there.
Dude, that right there could change somebody's life. If you switch that one mindset of what can I get to what can I give, your whole life is different, man. Like when my wife and I go out to eat now, dude, we don't think about, oh, the service better be good or we're calling them in. Dude, we're trying to make that server's day. We're literally trying to tell all the people, thank you so much for cooking the food, for doing it. We're trying to make their day. And in turn, we get the benefit of it too, of feeling good, because you can't help other people without feeling good yourself, man. I feel like you were a man that just really figured that out. You kind of alluded to that in marriage too, man. And I just put up a tweet an hour ago. It's like a joke, but I'm like, I just cleaned the house for about an hour before we hopped on here, put some praise music on, try and help out my wife as much as I can. I'll be called a simp from some of these alpha male accounts that tell you can't be helping the wife, man. All these crazy guys on Twitter. But you alluded to what you kind of put into marriage, you get out. And how long have you been married, if you don't mind me asking, Nate?
We are coming up on 14 years.
That's awesome, brother. And I can tell just by pictures and family and energy and things like that you guys have a pretty sparky marriage, man. You guys seem like a very happy couple. And can you kind of maybe share what it's taken to kind of get to that and what you do as a man to kind of set that tone in your family?
All right. Yeah. First of all, dude, I'm a chump. Okay. And God has been gracious with me, and he has given my wife an extra level of grace. And, I can be too much, but I'm not too much for the right people. And I'll say it like that. And, my wife has just been a godsend, dude. And so some of the things in our marriage early on, we did a lot of counseling through ministry, and we did a ton of books, all the trendy books, 5 love languages, and, all these different types of marital books. We've been through them all. And it's funny to see how we've actually evolved in our own outside of the books. And dude, one of the principles early on that was told to me was to try to outserve your spouse, to try, just like you talk about with vacuuming. Okay. It's not roles. Okay. It's not like she has to do the dishes and I have to go to work, or she has to be home with the kids and I have to go cut the grass. We just do the things. And 9 times out of 10, to my chagrin, she is the one toting some of that load. And so when I feel that conviction, what I see is I've missed. Okay. She's in there and she's going after, she's working and she's getting things done, and I'm off doing something. So 9 times out of 10, my growth in marriage has come from a backwards point of view. I missed it here. I need to come back and readdress this. I need to be more intentional with my work in the house. I need to be more intentional with my touch. I need to be more intentional with my time with her, like date nights. I need to be more intentional. Dude, I got 3 kids. It cost me $100 for a babysitter, and then add dinner onto that. I'm like, let me just put the kids in the house for a little bit. We'll go walk in the cul-de-sac. That's a date. I'm with it. Let's just go. But over the years, you see that evolution of, not from a book or not from a sermon, but how we fit together and how we gel together. And it's been fantastic, man. It's been great. I don't deserve it, and I'm blessed to be married.
That's so awesome, man. I feel the same way about my wife, man. I'm always amazed at how many different things my wife can do in a day. And especially now that I work from home, man, there were so many things I just took for granted. The kids, dude, when the kids go to school, they always got some kind of thing. They're sending extra snacks, or there's some kind of party. Dude, if I was in charge of this stuff, my wife jokes that if something happens to her, I got to get married like within 4 days. She's like, you need to find somebody out there on Twitter and get somebody in here. She's like, our kids are not going to eat. They're not going to have the right stuff. Like, it's just amazing all the things they take care of. But, to your big point, like just that intentional time and carving that out, and like, just kind of show, like, women, honestly, I always heard they're so complex, can't figure them out. To me, dude, if you just appreciate them a lot, tell them that you see them and you validate them and you're thankful and grateful for them, and then you just ask questions, it's pretty easy at that, man. And you just kind of learn as you go. Right. And I vibe with what you said too. I've made every mistake as a husband, man. Like, I mean, I just thank my wife at least once a week for not leaving me our first few years of marriage. Like, I just didn't deserve to have her around, like I'd say I'm going to go watch a game at Steve's house and I'll be back in 3 hours. And then I'm bringing an Uber in at 3:30 in the morning, just hammered, like it was just not a good thing, and it took me a while to grow up, but she was patient with me. Thank God, the grace of God for that. But, I do think if you learn from those mistakes and you try and get better, hopefully, you can keep carving out a better and better marriage. And, you're 14 years in. Would you say it's better even now than it was back in the beginning?
100%. Self-awareness level 0 entering marriage. Like you said, just zero self-awareness or awareness of that there was another person needing my time or attention in this house. And it's been so great, man. And now we're deeper into our marriage than we have been before, and a better place in ministry. We came out of a ministry where I felt like I had probably run her into the ground with just the time commitment of ministry. And, I'm always doing a breakfast, or I'm bringing kids over to the house and we're hanging out till 11 o'clock at night and just not putting that intention towards a marriage. And so now in our ministry, it's so much more dualistic than it ever has been before. There's a dualistic forward motion for our marriage. Instead of Nate going this way and her going this way, we're moving in a direction together, and it's fantastic, bro.
I love that, man. I love to hear that, man. I'd love to hear a little more about your ministry. And, I do talk that marriage a lot. I heard this once from an early mentor. When you're married, it's kind of like you're two rowboats in the ocean, right? And naturally you're going to go apart, but you got to fight every day to row back towards each other. And it sounds like you guys have really carved that out, man. What's your ministry about, Nate? And what's the evolution of that, if you don't mind sharing?
So I used to preach, and I stopped
brother,
preaching.
No wonder. Now this makes sense, man. I would love to go. You would on Sundays. I bet you had the crowd just popping, man.
Yeah, my little neck vein was sticking out. I had a towel. I'm going nuts, right? But I stopped preaching a few years back, and again, I had made a lot of heavy time decisions towards ministry, and it had really taken a toll on my marriage. And we changed churches, and just we're looking for, the purpose, something. We're looking for something, and I couldn't quite put my finger on what it was. And we landed at this church, and one of my old mentors was there, and I was sitting on the back row, and I'm just like, all right, what do you want from me? What do you want from my life and my time? Tyler, I am not meant to sit still in any realm of life, even in a church.
Yeah,
So if I just go to church and I'm sitting at the church and I'm like, hey, that was a good sermon, where are we going to barbecue at? I can't do it. And so I was just praying about how to get involved. Like, God, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do with my life? And my old mentor walked up, tapped me on the back, and said, hey, we are thinking about starting a life group program at this church. Would you be interested? And I'm like, you know what? Yes, let's go. So we started doing life groups 4 or 5 years ago, and we lead 2 a semester. Every semester we lead one, and it's been, dude, so great. So what we do, instead of like clicking up, how life groups, I don't know if you've ever been a part of life groups, how like click up, they get with their friends, they stay with their friends, and that's the life group forever. But there's all these people that come to the church that can never get in because everybody's clicked up. So we made this green room life group, first timers or people that want to meet people, just come one, come off. So we just cast this huge net out there and say, come to this life group, get to know what we're about and get to know the Lord and see what happens. And 9 times out of 10, they make their own groups because they've all become friends. Every year we start over with another 40 people. And so it's just been great, dude.
Yeah, it's fun. So you and your wife co-run this together then?
Yeah.
How neat is that, man? That's so cool. And so is it all couples, or can single people come in too and kind of form their own thing?
Yeah, everybody can come in. I've had a few singles come in, and hopefully we try to link them up.
I can see you're like me, man. You're like that guy at the party that's always the matchmaker. Hey Tara, I got my buddy over here, John. He's looking good. I was always that guy too. I could see you in church putting people together like that too, man.
Why not? I mean, what a great place to meet people.
Exactly, man. I love that, dude. And so now, as you so it sounds like you have that focus. Are your kids in sports, or your kids? What are your kids mostly into now, man? What's the dad life look like as the kids get older?
We play baseball for my son, and my 2 girls play volleyball. And we did wrestling last year, and my son's 8. And dude, he got trounced. Okay, he got trounced. No other way to say it. The poor little dude, he lost 21 matches in a row. And I wasn't a wrestler. I love to box, and my dad taught me a little bit about boxing, but I wasn't a wrestler. So when I went into the wrestling world for the first time and I saw these like super geared up dads, these dads wearing tap out shirts and they're all serious. They're like reverse helix them, grab them. And I'm like, I'm on the sidelines. I'm like, run, get away, dude.
Just get out of there, man.
just do something. I don't know. So the poor little dude, he didn't do well at wrestling. So we went to baseball, and I've played baseball my whole life. I coach all my kids, and I'm going to coach him as long as he'll have me around and think it's okay to have a dad around. And we just won our division this past year, which was great, fantastic. He's kind of coming into his own with baseball, and it's just a good time for me and him to actually have something that's our own, something that me and him do. And my wife coaches the girls in volleyball, so we go full tilt, man.
Dude, you guys are just like salt of the earth, man. That's so amazing, man. And that's something, my dad coached me in soccer, baseball, basketball up until a certain point, cross country. And, my dad was, my friends will still call him coach, like he's the kind of guy who like, we'll see friends that we're almost 40 now, man. And how's coach doing, man? How's coach? Like, and I never grew out of wanting to hang with my dad. Even when I was a teenager, even when I was in college, man, we always had that relationship where we'd shoot hoops and talk or whatever. And so I pray for that for you and your son too, man. Cause I think sports can draw, that's how guys kind of bond, man. If I'm to hang out with guys and we do retreats and stuff, we go do hard things together. We push ourselves together. That's how guys bond, man. Go play a sport, go push yourself. You really, that's a great way to bond, man. So I love that for you and your son, man.
It's been great, dude. We love it. I might get him into wrestling again. I asked him if he wanted to wrestle this year, and he says, Dad, I think I've lost my confidence. And I'm like, oh, bro, my heart hurt for him because he got his butt whooped, dude. I know how it feels. 21 times,
Yeah, that's pretty rough to come back from, man. But you know what? It's as long as you're having fun and learning through it. I mean, that's the cool thing about youth sports too, that it teaches you a lot of life lessons, man. My daughter's getting into soccer this year. I'm going to pray that I can go help coach too and get into that too, man. That's a dream of mine as my kids get a little older and into that too, man. So that's awesome. You're a guy I look up with in fatherhood because I see that you've gone through that journey and you guys seem to be in a spot where I aspire to get to, man. So I really thank you for kind of paving that example, man. That's awesome.
Dude, I am here by the grace of God, man.
Well, give us your best, couple best dad tips for any dads out there, maybe dads to be, as you kind of, gone through that journey. What are some tips you'd give to some fathers out there?
Yeah, dude. So again, working from the negative side, always a time where I'm like, I should be doing this, yes. Answering yes to the question. So my kids are really into board games right now. And we play like Settlers of Catan. And
I love that.
Yeah. So they're like, can we play a board game? And when they say board game, it's 2 hours, right? Catan is not a quick game. They got this one called Ticket to Ride. It's a foul, demonic, infernal game. It's terrible. And it takes 3 hours to play this game. And you're like trying to cross country with these trains and they're beating me. And I'm like, this is awful. But one of the tips that helped me was just yesing them, yes to jumping on the trampoline, yes to playing games, yes to riding our bikes together. And now recently it's my son, can I work out with you? Yes,
Bro, that's awesome, man. How cool is
yes
that?
to the kids, man. And so that's it's something you take for granted because our time is valuable. And 9 times out of 10, dude, dads are coming home from a long day at work. They're popping themselves up in the easy chair and they're zoning out for the rest of the night. But for us, when we come home or when I come home, it's a different hat and a different switch, and it's almost game on. It's almost go mode from there, and you spend the rest of the evening with the family, And so saying yes is a huge hack, dude. And I tweeted something today. If you can treat your kids like they're not a hindrance, like they're not a problem, that's going to benefit them hugely, widely, man. Sometimes we just push them away, right? I'll see dads at the pool. They're hanging out at the pool, man. Their kids are like using that little Nerf gun. They're squirting them. And the dads are like, you're getting me wet, I'm like, bro.
Go jump in the pool, man.
Right? Just jump in. Throw your kids a mile in the pool. It'll make their day. And, it'll probably make your day too. Dude. And just not treating them like they're an inconvenience, man. Like they're a hindrance to your life. You made these kids. They're yours. And in 5, 10, 15, or a year from now, they're going to be gone. And they're going to remember the times that you yes them and you didn't treat them like an inconvenience to your life.
Man, that is so true. And I think I just thank my dad whenever I hear that example. And, my mom too, just all the best memories of my childhood, honestly. We grew up, lower middle class, man. We didn't have super nice things or fancy stuff, but my folks were always there. They were always playing. I mean, we played board games every night. We played outside all day. That's just what we did. And, it does. I love when you say, the kids are begging for their parents' attention. I see this every day, man. I mean, I'm at the park. Probably, it's embarrassing how much I spend. I probably spend 4 hours a day at the park, man, with my kids. But I mean, I'll see parents there all the time. And what ends up happening is I'm out there playing with my kids, right? Throwing my daughter around, playing hide and seek, playing tag. What inevitably always happens, I would say 90% of the time, these other kids that are begging mom or dad to come play or come watch. Hey, mom, look at me jump. So let me see how far I can jump. 1 minute. I'm busy. Shooing them away. And then, what always happens is these kids will attract to us. And by the end of the time, man, I feel like we got a neighborhood game of like 10 kids around. And my wife says this a lot when she takes the kids out without me too, that she's one of the only moms a lot of times playing too. And I think, as a parent, don't just take your kids to the park or the pool. Go play with them, man. You will have as much fun as they will. That's the thing that I don't understand. Like, bro, I'll have squirt gun fights with my daughter and her friends. It'll be 4-on-1 and I'm running around. We're throwing water balloons at each other. We're going, it's like, this is so much fun to me, man. That's way better than sitting there talking politics, drinking a beer with some dude that I don't really, talking work or whatever. Like, I don't know, put yourself in the arena, get in there with your kids. It's going to be gone before you know it too. And I'm sure with your kids getting the age they are, you probably see that where you don't have as much time as you think,
Dude, so true. I tweet this. I don't know. How many times could you push them away before they'll stop asking? Right? Yeah. How many times? Is there a window? 10,000. Let's say 10,000 times this child is going to say, Daddy, can you do this? And you're at 6,000 now, right? There's got to be a window of time that you have that they're not going to ask anymore. They're going to get the hint, bro. They're going to get the hint. And God help me. God help both of us to be there for all 10,000 of those, right? As best we can.
And say yes.
More and further.
And say yes, man. I love that. That's the best tip I think you can say. I never would have guessed that I would now know all the Disney princesses and have as many tea parties as I have. And so, with my daughter, but I just won't really say no if she asks me to do something. Daddy, do you want to play? The answer is pretty much always going to be yes at any time that I can, And so I think that's the best tip you give anybody, man. I love that, brother. That's awesome. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on. I end every podcast with what I call rapid fire questions, man. So we're going to bring the intensity out here. And also I want to give you a tip too, Nate, as you grow on Twitter, bro, start putting some of your midweek motivator content on YouTube. Honestly, bro, that could be a side hustle for you 2 years down the road, where if you keep putting constant positive content on YouTube, bro, you're exactly what people would love on there, man. So get some of that stuff over there too, man. Put some sermons out there on that. We need more good content all over, man.
Add another digital platform to my arena, right?
There you go, man. You can just copy paste, upload right away, man. It's pretty easy.
There we go.
All right, brother. 5 rapid fire questions. This one I'm very interested in. What's your favorite Bible verse? You might have mentioned it already. And favorite Bible character that you most feel kind of has impacted your life?
You ever write those cards where you write, happy graduation, you write a verse underneath? I would always write my life verse, which is Micah 6:8. And one time I confused it with Micah 1:8. And somebody texted me back and they're like, why did you write this on my card? And I looked up Micah 1:8 and it says, I will go stripped and naked and make a wailing like an ostrich.
Bro, that's amazing. That should be everybody's favorite verse. I'm gonna say that one to my wife when she comes. Let's read Micah 1:8 and practice that,
There we go. So Micah 1:8, not to be confused with Micah 6:8. Micah 6:8 says, he has shown you, oh man, what is good and what the Lord requires of you, but to do justly, but to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. And dude, how simplified that made the gospel for me was life-changing. It's a huge verse for me. And we do a lot of these questions in life group when you say, what Bible character do you identify with most? And, everybody's like, King David, I'm courageous, or, Mary, whatever. Dude, I would probably, to be honest, be like Thomas. Doubting Thomas. And I'd be like, you're going to have to show me. You're going to have to show me those wounds. Or I'd probably be like Peter prior to him being awesome. I'd be like, no, Lord, you ain't about to go die. I'm about to, fight somebody. So I identify sometimes with the failures of the writers of scripture and the characters in the Bible, because my life works that way. Always, 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 God is using something that I fell short in to bring me to a place of betterment. So
that's
Gideon,
awesome, man.
I don't know.
I can resonate with that so much, man. Like I don't really resonate with King David outside of a lot of his failures. And then I thank God that God still calls him man after his own heart after his failures, you know, because
Right.
I'm in that boat with you, man. I appreciate that. That's awesome. What's the most impactful book you've ever read, excluding scripture?
There's a book by Stu Weber called Four Pillars of a Man's Heart. And I'll read it every other year or every year. It's a perennial, and he talks about returning to the headwaters of masculinity and what it looks like to be these four pillar elements of a man. And I know that this is a goal for you, but for me, I want to be a man of integrity, a man of honor, and a man of character for the rest of my days. And if I'm going to do that, I have to constantly feed that man. And so Four Pillars of a Man's Heart is a perennial. Check it out. It's amazing. I'll send you a copy.
I definitely will, man. I appreciate that. And yeah, I think that, you know, as men, as sinful, you know, nature, man, if I'm not constantly checking myself, my thoughts can go negative, my actions can go negative. And you're right. You have to keep feeding yourself every day, man. It's an everyday battle, you know? So yeah, I appreciate that, Nate. That's awesome, man. All right, man. This one I'm very interested in. I've been asking a lot of people this lately. Somebody offers you today, Nate, $100,000, but you can never post anything on social media again. You don't ever get to come back on any platform or anything like that. Would you do it?
I'm gone.
You're gone?
I'm gone.
100K, yeah. Man. Give it to Nate.
I'm gone. So it's twofold, because I'm starting to see this new side of Twitter where it's actually making a difference off platform, and I'm calling guys, I'm connecting with guys, I'm doing discipleship, and I'm growing and I'm learning, and they're learning hopefully and being benefited. So no, in one sense, I would never trade that, because I've made some great connections, and hopefully I'm helping some guys work through some things in their life. So no, I'd never trade discipleship ever. But digital realms are my nemesis. And I don't care for digital platforms or digital things. I don't have cable, you know, it's not my thing, dude. So if I could pay somebody to tweet for me, I hear this is popular, then I would just do that. You know, here's what I want to say.
Nobody could be you, brother. That's what I have these people in my DMs all the time. Like, I'll tweet for you. And I'm like, but dude, how are you going to tweet like what I'm doing all day and my crazy thoughts that come and these crazy videos that I'm running sprints. And now I'm just like, I'm hitting record, but I'm so high on life. I don't even remember what I said. I'm just fired up yelling at people. How are you going to recreate that? Nobody can recreate that for us, man. Like,
that's exactly right. So that double-edged sword. I mean, I love it. And then there's times where I'd throw the phone away and say, I never want to do this again. But if God's using it, then this is the mission and I'm here to roll.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. I honestly pray that there's a day in my life where I'm not on my phone as much, man. And I've really cut consumption of my phone down. When I was just growing Twitter, I think it's wise that you mentioned that earlier, that you got to have periods a day where you set it down, man, where you just don't have it. Like, I apologize that I can't get to all the people anymore. I wish I still could, but my family's got to come first. My peace has got to come first. And that, you know, you just can't when you get to a certain point. And you know, I hear this like metaverse and all this stuff coming. Dude, I'm going to fight that stuff as hard. I want no part of any of that. I want to actually feel my feet on the earth. I want to actually breathe air and run around with my kids and throw. I don't want to be in some virtual world where I'm doing this. I want to be on earth doing this stuff. You know, I'll fight that to my death too, man.
I'm with you.
All right, man. This one I'm interested in too. What's your favorite thing to work out? Like your favorite exercise working out wise? And then if you're trying to hit a PR or go really hard, what's a song you'll put on?
Okay. So I'm not a headphone guy at the gym.
You're one of those guys, man. Those are the most intense guys.
Yeah. I'm there. I'm talking to everybody. I've actually, you know, I know everybody's name in the gym that I go to, and I'm walking in, I'm saying, hey to this guy and hey to this person. I'm just talking, you know, and those are my power hours anyway. From 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., I'm probably my best, you know, most cognizant, just firing on all cylinders. So I don't listen to music a lot, but when I'm home and I'm in the garage and the kids are out there, that we're working out, we're doing something, I got music on. They like the Church Clap by Lecrae. I don't know if you ever heard that.
Great song. Oh yeah, man. That's my daughter's favorite song, actually. She dances to it a lot.
And if I want to get nasty, and if I just want to sweat and I want to get miserable and I want to just duke it out with my emotions, there's this band called Oh Sleeper, and they are violent. And they have this album called Son of the Morning where Satan challenges God at the beginning of the album. And he is telling God he's weak for forgiving, and he's going to, you know, climb the bodies of the fallen saints to claim the throne. It's just violent. And then at the end of the album, God answers back, and it's called The Finisher. And he tells Satan, everything that you would want him to say. It's just like you're like, man, I picture my Jesus with a sword or something and a horse. I don't know. It's just epic. So if I want to get violent and just thrash around weight and sweat my guts out, I'm putting on some of that.
That's awesome, brother. I love that, man. I'll have to check that out. That sounds pretty good, man. I love that.
Just be careful.
Just use it in moderated. You'll see some fired up videos come. That's maybe where your fired up videos come from after that, man. Last one, man, maybe some future plans and just anywhere people can find you, man. If anybody wants to reach out to you, Nate, and again, I'm going to link everything Nate does below. And I urge anybody that's listening to this, please hop onto Twitter, give this man a follow. You will not regret it. But, what's some future plans? Where can people find you, Nate?
Yeah, future plans, man. I don't know what God has for me right now. We're just mapping it out day by day. I told my wife one day I'm going to go to this magical place called Boca Grande, Florida, and maybe end up fishing for tarpon in this pass in Boca Grande, Florida, and be tweeting from a beach instead of a porta-john, But I don't have any plans right now. We've thought several times about moving. We thought several times about shifting again, but we're super content. And dude, honestly, I feel like I could serve God and my family anywhere and at any church, So the future's wide open. Whatever he wants me to do, wherever he wants me to go, let's roll.
Bro, I can say, and I can just say this from pretty experience, but I know why you have so much energy all the time. It's because you have peace. I can really just see it and getting this hour, and I'm grateful for that opportunity to talk to you, man, more. And, we've had some conversations off before, but really seeing the way that how content you are, and hey, where God sends me, I go, and I see that peace in you, man. And when you don't have that inner turmoil of, I got to bend to be this person in this setting, or I got to be this person in this setting, you're just yourself all the time, dude. It's a different level when you're that authentic and you kind of give your life to God, dude. You don't run out of energy because you have a bigger purpose, man. I love that so much, brother. And I appreciate you sharing a lot of your wisdom, a lot of your time and your talents with everybody, man. Thank you.
Dude, I'm so happy to be here, and I love you, bro, and I've appreciated everything that you've modeled, man, and just, I want to tell you that you're doing this well, and I'm tracking with you, bro, and I appreciate the guidance in a lot of this, man, and God's been so good to line people like you up and some other guys on Twitter that have just been, dude, honestly, life-changing friends, and addresses are all over the place in Texas and California and Canada and wherever else, and it's cool because, dude, that platform, that need is being met through a platform, through male camaraderie and fellowship and growth and calling me out for stuff, dude, that's awesome. I would trade it for a thing, dude.
It's epic, man. Well, dude, I appreciate your energy. I appreciate you so much, Nate. You go have the most blessed day. Are you off work today, or what's the plans for the rest of the day, brother?
This is it. Kids are coming home. I got the dog. We're gonna do our 10K steps and walk in this 97-degree heat. And
bro, what a blessing. You're going to sweat your butt off. 97 degrees. Yeah, go crush it, man. I think it's 99 here, but we don't have humidity, so it's better. All right, man, I got my kids coming home in a few too, man. Let's go have the greatest day. You guys, thank you so much for listening. We got Nate Norman on here. Give this man a follow. Love this guy from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for coming on here, man, making me better, making everybody better. Everybody out there, man, you're listening to this. Be kind to yourself today. Be kind to others. Go bless up. Let's change the world with kindness, be our best versions of ourselves, and go have the greatest day of your life, everybody. Let's get them.
Let's go. Thank you so much, bro.
Thank you, man.